Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, after taking a look at a few articles, I am really sad to say, and really with a heavy heart, that this is a very sad day for the prepping community, especially here on YouTube and social media. And the reason that I say that is because not enough people watched our videos or listened to the warnings. Not only the warnings of those of us in the prepping community within YouTube and whatever other social media outlets there are, but even of just the basic legacy media. People were being warned time and time again. I was warning people, telling them, get a generator. Figure out a way to heat your home safely in case there's a power outage. And it seems to be that the death toll up to now is about 34 people have lost their lives. Not all in the same way. Some people were found frozen in their vehicles. Some people were found in their homes. I read of a gentleman who lost his life because the snow backed up into his heater, into his forced air heater, and it forced CO2 to go into his domicile, and he passed away. And you know, this is something that we can learn from. I don't do these videos, or I'm not doing this video, let's say, better put, to gloat in any way. But I mentioned this a few videos back, a few days ago. I said there will be fatalities because people live in a normalcy bias. So if you are lucky enough to be one of those that made it through this, and this is still going on. This is still going on. It's not done yet. But if you're one of those that are lucky enough that made it through this thus far, prepare for the next time, because this will continue to happen. This is going to happen at a faster rate than a once in a generation, as they're calling it, or once in a lifetime, whatever they may be calling it. It will continue to happen at a faster rate. Let me remind you all that a couple of years back in 2021, during the Texas freeze, where plenty of people lost their lives, a lot more than what have lost their lives thus far. When that happened, they were saying that that was a 1 in, I think, 50-year event. Well, here we are, just shy of 2 years later, and we're having an event that is even worse than that which happened in 2021, February, I believe it was. Here it says that treacherous winter weather kills 34 across the U.S. and it paralyzed Buffalo. And as you can see, I'm running this video here in the background. This is mainly, around Buffalo and other states that were experiencing this weather. So you can see how treacherous it is. I mean, whiteout conditions that came like this. I've actually experienced whiteout conditions where you had zero visibility, or where I had zero visibility before, where the weather was just fine, yes, in winter conditions. It was actually during this year when the winter first started, when the snow first started. And if you don't know what to do, then in all honesty, you really ought to stay home. Be prepared to stay home, to wait out the storm until things can go back to, I guess, what we can call normal. Let me tell you a quick story of what happened. I was driving Little Miss Alaska Prepper to school, and it was a pretty chilly day outside. I don't think it was below zero, but it was definitely below freezing, and it had already snowed. So when it's really cold outside and there's snow on the ground, or it does snow, the snow is very light and very airy, meaning that it doesn't really stick to the ground that much. Well, I'm driving down the highway on our way to school, and all of a sudden, we just got a pretty good wind gusts that just kept going for, I don't know, probably about 5 minutes or so. Now, this is what I did, and maybe it can help someone else. Now, it depends on what kind of traffic you are. If you're in real heavy traffic, then it may not work as well as if you were in traffic that's a little bit lighter. But all of a sudden, I had zero visibility. So what I do when I'm starting to lose visibility is I keep my eyes on the lights in front of me, and I continue to drive towards those lights, hoping that they're still on the road, right? When the visibility gets worse, I try to keep my eyes on the line on the road. You know, the white line on the side of the road, or the line in the median. I try to keep my eyes, one of my eyes, like my peripheral vision, on one of those lines, and I slow down and I continue to drive as long as I can see enough ahead of me, at least 2 or 3 cars ahead of me, or 2 or 3 car lengths ahead of me, which will give me time to stop if I have to stop. I just continue following that line, which ensures that I'm not going off-road. Well, this one time it got really bad and I couldn't see anything. So what did I do? Immediately I put on my flashers. I put on my 4-way flashers immediately, and I started slowing down on a straight line very slowly, slowing down slow, right? That way you don't want to hit your brakes and slide or have somebody behind you slam into you. And then I brought it to the side of the road to where I can hear that bump. You know those little bumps that you hear? The brrrr when you hit the side of the road? They put them there for safety, really, so that you know that you're going off-road. I slowed down until I heard that bump, and then I went over a little bit more, because I know that our side, after that bump, our side is enough for a car to park. So I slowed down, went to the side, stopped, my flashers were on. I waited about 5 minutes. That's about how long it took for that wind gust to go away. Once the wind gust went away and the visibility came back, I then turned off my flashers, I put my blinker to the left, and I slowly took off after making sure that there are no vehicles coming. Now that's what I did in that specific situation, but you have to have a plan when you go out in this weather, if you have to go out in this weather, of what you are going to do. Here they say that Sunday, following a brutal winter storm that affected more than half of the country, about 250 million Americans were affected by the storm, ladies and gentlemen, killed at least 34 people nationwide, with the death toll only expected to rise. And that truly does break my heart. Rescue and recovery workers rushed to people stranded in their homes and cars by snowdrifts, while tens of thousands of households were left without heat in bitter cold temperatures. And how many times have we all come out here and said, get alternative heating, get alternative power? And again, I'm not beating up on the victims. I'm just saying what I've said 1,000 times in hopes that somebody watches this who have not thought about doing that, and then they go out and do it. Because like I said, this is not the first time, this won't be the last time that something like this happens. They continue to say that some 60% of the U.S. population faced some sort of winter weather advisory or warning this weekend in a large swath of the country. The storm knocked out power to 1.7 million customers from Maine to Seattle at the peak, though that number was down to less 200,000 by Sunday afternoon. That is great, but not great for those 200,000. You know, I was doing a little bit of calculation, and I went ahead and divided $45 billion by $500, and it came out to about 90 million. Now, I know that in the United States, there's roughly 140 to 160 million homes. Where am I getting at? That with that $45 billion that was just given away, they could have spent that money instead to make sure that 90 million households had a generator. Just one that cost $500, which is maybe like a 4,000 watt generator. But I digress. In Buffalo, much of the city remained impassable after ferocious extended blizzard conditions dumped 43 inches of snow. I can't even imagine that. I live in Alaska. I can't even imagine having a storm where we get 43 inches. I think that the biggest storm that we've ever had here since I've been living here was like 3 feet of snow overnight. And that was incredible. I can only imagine 43 inches. My goodness, it says that it paralyzed the airports and the area. A driving ban remained in effect, and volunteer snowmobilers have been tapped to rescue stranded motorists. And unfortunately, some of those stranded motorists, they were already passed on by the time that the volunteers got there to help them. 6 people were dead from the storm in other parts of Erie County, officials says. The ages of fatal victims in Erie range from 26 to 93. As I've stated in the past, the cold does not discriminate, and it is unforgiving. One 27-year-old Niagara County man was killed after he was overcome with carbon monoxide as the result of snow blocking his furnace. Oh, goodness, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what. You need to get prepared. If you can use this as motivation to go out there and get prepared, then use this as motivation. I mean, this should be motivation enough. Just seeing what's gone on in the last few days, just from natural causes, it should be motivation enough. Go out there and prepare. Make it your priority to make sure that the next time that something like this happens, at the very least, ladies and gentlemen, that your pipes won't freeze. At the very least. But then again, it can definitely save your life if you just have a small generator with some gasoline put away and you know how to use it safely. And again, unfortunately, we get to learn from a young man's tragedy of losing his life. It's something else that you will have to put on your checklist if we ever have an event such as this, which I believe we will. Check your systems. Make sure that they're working properly. Have a carbon monoxide detector, please. Having said that, have a great day. I did put out a couple other videos today. I hope you check them out. Both of them, I believe, are just as important. But the second video that I put out today, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't watched that, go watch that, because it will tell you exactly where we're at. And now, I know that I've been mentioning this for all of the videos that I put out today. Well, just the last two that I put out. But Contingency Medical, for those of you that were trying to get some, it is back up and running. And they are offering 10% off. Just use this code up above. The code is going to be good until the 28th, I believe until Wednesday. It's going to be good for 10% off, and then it's going to revert back to $10 off. So this is a chance for those of you that wanted to get it, but the site was down because they were doing some work in the back end of their software systems. I think it had to do with banking. Those of you that wanted to get it and weren't able to get it because the site was down, it has been up, I believe, since this weekend. I think it went up, and it's going to be good through Wednesday for that 10% off instead of $10 off. Other than that, I hope that you have a great day. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Don't get down when things like this happen. Make sure that you learn from them, right? Make sure that you learn from them. That way you can be prepared for the next time, right? Life is a learning experience. Having said that, have a great day. Thank you very much for all of your support, ladies and gentlemen, this entire year. I want to say thank you to all of our newer community members that have subscribed and become a member of the Alaska Prepper family this year, and also as much of a thanks to all of our OGs out there, original gangsters that have been with us here for a while, and a special thanks to our moderators. You ladies know that I love you, and I want to thank you very much for everything that you've done for us throughout the year. Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.